Welcome back. Now, over 4 banks have issued profit warnings in the last 2 weeks. While this is not an isolated situation to Nigeria or Africa, Europe and the US particularly have had backlash from low economic growth and bad loans generally. We, however, need to determine the financial health of Nigerian banks, and we talk what the future holds for them. Btva, what is their overall exposure like?
If you look at it from the context of what happened in 2008, it is not as bad as what we basically saw. First of all, the banks are a lot more stable financially. The loan books are a lot larger. ETI has the largest loan book with about 2.6 trillion naira, followed closely by First Bank at 2.3. The overall loan book size of this top 12 banks is about 14 trillion naira as we speak. Now, if you look at the top 6 tier 1 banks, you're talking of a loan growth, an average loan growth of about 6%, with ETI for the third quarter leading that, even though they've issued a profit warning. But ETI for the third quarter, its loan book grew by about 16%. Now, for the tier 2 banks, you're looking at a decline in loan growth of about 0.4%. A lot of that was driven by declines in the loan book of Sterling Bank and FCMB. Now, aside that, what you want to get a sense of is the proportion of non-performing loans you have to the overall size of the loan book. Now, of all the banks listed here, Stanbic actually has the largest loan-performing loan book number, which is about 8.8%. But surprisingly, Stanbic ranks, number 4 here in terms of actual size of non-performing loans. ETI and First Bank are far ahead of everybody else. First Bank's non-performing loan book size is about close to 5%. ETI is about close to 5%. So you actually have very, very large numbers there. Now, what we've done is to get a sense of loan loss expense and credit impairments to actually tabulate who has done what. Now, First Bank issued a profit warning, and largely because as at the third quarter of 2015, they had credit losses of about 46 billion, and that cascades all the way down to Fidelity. But the interesting thing about it is UBA, full year results last year, has credit impairments of just about 5 billion.
Well, I did see some of those results, and I know that as of yesterday, the board members and staff of GTB and UBA would have walked into the office with a chip on their shoulders, saying, yes, in the middle of economic crisis, we were still able to post this kind of numbers. But FBNH, ETI posting profit warnings. First of all, let's talk about GT and UBA. What was responsible for their results being
GTB's loan book grew by about 7.5%. That was the first thing. Secondly, GTB is arguably amongst the most cost-efficient banks in the country as we speak.
42% cost-in-income ratio.
Yeah, so basically, GTB has always been efficient cost-wise. Now, they were able to grow their loan book by 7.5%, so that had really, really come to play. For UBA, a lot of it was based on the fact that their risk assets, they were very, very efficient risk asset managers. Like I said, if you look at the credit loss size, they are probably ranked the second smallest, whereas they're the 6th largest bank in terms of loan book size. You know, so basically, risk management in UBA was fantastic this year. What I can also tell you from a cursory look at the numbers is simply that for UBA in particular, profitability also rose by about 20%.
But I mean, what do you think is going to be the reaction from investors, especially with seeing UBA's results being good, seeing GT's bank's results being good? ETI has given us a profit warning, FBNH has given us a profit warning, and you know these profit warnings really don't warn you enough.
Well, yeah, true, very true. But look at it in terms of corporate governance. Prior to this current administration, we weren't even having a scenario where companies were giving us profit warnings where results were going to be bad. They just posted those numbers. So now we're seeing improved corporate governance, particularly from the banks. Now, and ETI, for instance, has given us a profit warning that the final quarter would be bad, and the final quarter would be worse off than what we saw for the previous third quarter. So it's more or less like they're telling you, this final quarter, we might not make anything. So
Tosin, which one of these banks do you expect to give us something good again?
Again.
Zenith gave dividends.
Actually, the highest dividend payout, 12%.
12%,
Highest dividend yield.
Yeah.
Very, very good result. I think something else jumped out at me. UBA's loan actually shrunk by about 3% compared to GTB that grew by 7.5% and Zenith that delivered 15.6% loan growth. That makes me ask, this economy needs to grow and we need it to grow with credit. So yes, UBA delivered a very stunning result. However,
they shrunk their
loan book. But you know, part of it also, in terms of your loan book size, you also look at things like how TSA would have impacted, how TSA would have obviously impacted loan growth for certain reasons. UBA, I gather, it was Skybank that lost about 60 billion in potential credits. Do you understand? Just because they had to remit money back to the TSAs. Now, also look at it from the context that UBA was also fairly aggressive with recoveries. So their loan recoveries, they actually recovered about 2.5 billion, which improved that
So you're
number.
trying to say our banking sector is healthy?
Yes.
But I had a question on Twitter posed to me yesterday, and I didn't answer, so maybe you might help me with it.
Okay.
Barclays just packed their bags and left Africa recently.
Yeah.
And someone was asking that why was no Nigerian bank bidding for Barclays' share in Africa? And I'm asking, is that a valid question? If we're that healthy.
Well, the thing is this, a lot of Barclays concentrations, particularly in Africa, are actually in South Africa. They do have some operations in Nigeria. They do have operations in Ghana also. But in terms of actual scope of operations, they're not particularly large in Nigeria. Now,
so it's really not about...
It's not a Nigerian thing. Now, conservatively, Barclays is actually scaling down its operations globally. Now, Africa, based on return of equity of give or take of, I think it was less than 10% or so, and they're looking at it and saying, okay, you know what, with the increased risk profile of Africa, with all shocks that we experience, African economies are basically commodity-based economies. So they're looking at it in terms of scope of operations. Will we be able to make as much money? Possibly not. But the interesting thing is, it's for sale. It's worth about, African operations are worth about $1.7 billion from what I gather. If you do the math, that's about 340 billion. Is there any Nigerian bank that would want to stake 340 billion naira to buy Barclays assets in Africa? Probably
well,
not.
I think the banks I'm still expecting to see, or I'll be looking out for, Diamond Bank.
Diamond Bank has posted a profit warning.
Issued a profit warning. Diamond Bank, FCMB.
And particularly because I do notice that they seem to be a little bullish around retail credit.
Interestingly, I mean, if you look at Zenith Bank's book as well, the portion of their loan that went out to the commerce, that is general commerce, was actually the most hit, the one that actually suffered from impairment. So maybe, just maybe, but then we have to wait for their result to confirm this, but just maybe.
You know, the surprising thing is if you look at loan books for banks in general, you'll be surprised that about 25% of the total loan portfolio of most banks is in the oil and gas sector.
Yeah,
now, that has been hit.
That's a problem.
Now, that has been, you obviously know, because of pricing, that has been hit. But what you would tend to have is you, rather than have outright cancellations, you most likely have tenor extensions of those loans, to the point where we have seen some type of recovery in crude oil prices. And you do hope that the lower for longer scenario does not last as long as most people hope it does.
I do also hear that ETI's profit warnings are around them trying to take all their impairments into this particular result.
It's called the big bath,
well,
actually.
It's not really as bad as a situation as it looks, but I think they're just trying to be as prudent as possible.
Surprising thing, when we were looking at the loan losses and impairments, what you realize is for the top 5, average loan loss expenses, that's credit losses, grew by about 85% year on year. For the bottom, for the tier 2 banks, the top 6 tier 2 banks, it grew by about 165%. So for the 12, loan credit losses grew by about 125% year on year.
Risk management.
Risk management.
So, of course, we'll continue to watch the economic and financial space, providing analysis that can in turn shape your business decisions. I am TUNJI Andrews from the team and I. It's goodbye.